So today I'm going to share a bit about my entrepreneurial story, how I accidentally found myself as the head of a technology company, what my experience navigating male-dominated industries has been like, and how a freelancing background can actually assist you when you're entering the tech space. And as Elena had said, I'm Andrea Chase and I hail from Ottawa, Canada. My degree is in psychology and my diploma is in SME management. And of course, we can't discount that my education has contributed, of course, to where I am today. But I always say my personality and my aspirations have just as greatly contributed to my entrepreneurial path. I've sort of always been that very curious person, which has led me to try many different things in my life, many different career paths, bigger organizations, smaller organizations. But I always love that entrepreneurial piece where we build something from the ground up, from nothing. And I'm sure as freelancers, you can probably relate to that sentiment. I'm sure you have a really strong why as to why you're in the path you're on. So since university, I always could envision myself, starting a business one day and working for myself. That seemed like a really good fit for me. I've had this pull towards business management, but I never really knew quite when or what and stuff like that. And I had this idea that I wanted to gain some more experience, So after I graduated from college, I frantically started looking for work, different types of work in sales and marketing and business management. And I really wasn't having a lot of luck, to be honest with you. I was feeling so defeated by this process and I was carrying a lot of student debt as well. So I did what we do, right? I ended up with 3 part-time jobs that weren't my dream job, but it tied me over. And then eventually, after a couple of years, I did secure a role in program administration. And I actually did quite enjoy that role. But, there we go again, a year and a half after I'm into that role, funding is cut from the program. And I'm thinking, here I am again, back to square one. But looking back, this was actually a massive turning point in my life and my career path. And I urge you to think about, has there ever been a time where you felt like everything was crumbling around you, but in fact, it was actually a stepping stone to something super great? And I would be really interested to hear if you can relate to this, because I don't think I'm alone there. So while I was looking for work in that interim, really strange period, my partner, who actually has a very diverse background in information technology, him and I had been brainstorming ideas. We wanted to start a business together one day, but we weren't really sure when the timing would be right or exactly what idea we were going to run with. And I just want to say hindsight is a beautiful thing. For the record, I don't think there's any perfect magical time to start a business. I do think that the time is when you have the idea, right? I don't think you just kind of got to jump in. So at that point, I've lost my job. I'm out of work again. I'm very frustrated with the job market. We're coming out of an international recession. I literally have nothing to lose, right? That's the point I'm at. So for lack of a better analogy, we married our skill sets. So we co-founded Bates Global Inc., which is a professional service firm, and we provide public and private entities in Canada with information technology solutions, business analysis, and most recently marketing solutions as well. We've been in operation since 2011, and it was actually through Bates where I really learned what being a freelancer is like. And I'll be the first to say, this is a work in progress. Did we know what we were doing? Definitely not. Was it difficult? Without a doubt. But did we figure it out? You betcha. We figured out our path, right? And I have to, of course, not discount. I think I always say this, but as entrepreneurs and freelancers, I think the journey of growth and learning, it never really does end. So through Bates, I started with business development consulting, which basically meant I was working with startups and entrepreneurs that had big ideas, and I was helping them with their business planning, which is a skill I had actually learned in college. And my partner is providing, IT solutions to different clients. And over time, we started gaining more experience and more confidence. And we've now, up until now, we've worked with startups, we've worked with SMEs, and we've done some government contracts as well. So it was sort of this slow and steady growth, right? Not void of many lessons along the way. But after a few years of just that steady growth in true entrepreneurial fashion, an idea was unexpectedly born in 2016. And I guess it was time to shake things up, right? As entrepreneurs, we're never too settled. So this time it was really inspired by a real life issue that hit super close to home. So we have a family member who's been driving taxi for 30 years. He's an immigrant, and his story rings very true of a lot of professional chauffeurs across the globe. He was in this awful circumstance where he couldn't afford to retire, but he couldn't afford to keep working and keep up with all those high fees that they incur on a monthly basis. His overhead, he was swimming in that, and the taxi plates have become practically worthless. So this really hit home to me. I really wanted to help solve this dilemma. I do not come from the taxi space, but his story really strongly impacted me. And as a person who's always used taxis for many years, I had this idea. I thought, I want to create a platform that works like ride sharing, that I can order a professional chauffeur through my phone with a click of a button, pay through the phone, but at the same time be giving these drivers a fighting chance to earn supplementary income, rebuild their retirement funds, and get some skin back in the game. So ProCabby was born from a strong desire to really help these drivers, right? And I jumped right in. But I had no idea. I had no idea at all what starting an app business was going to be like, or how difficult it actually was going to be for us to build the platform from the ground up ourselves. So you've heard it, right? I do not come from the IT space. I do not have firsthand technology experience. So it was really difficult for me to attach my name to this entity that was heavily focused on IT and also is really male dominated as well. I felt like a fraud. At times I was feeling like a fraud. How are people going to perceive me? Are they going to trust me? And I can't tell you how many times to this day people look at me sideways, whether they be a taxi, a limousine driver, or a company owner. They're very confused that I'm the head of this company in the taxi and limousine space. So I feel like it can take some time, right, to build up trust with these people. And I've had to learn some tactics about how to navigate this, which I'll get to in a little bit. But I do really feel that many times, if I had been male, I may have been able to move the needle forward a little bit more quickly. And also, as a woman, I think I've had to work harder in this space to get where I am. So I have to ask you out there, has anyone here experienced imposter syndrome? This is a big buzz term right now. Everybody's talking about it, right? But in essence, by definition, Melody Weidling, she classifies this psychological phenomenon as reflecting a belief that you're inadequate and an incompetent failure, despite evidence that indicates you're skilled and quite successful. So this is, in short, the definition. And studies actually suggest that 70% of people experience imposter syndrome at some point throughout their careers. And I would put money on the fact that this statistic would be higher in the freelance community. I really think it would be. So if you're comfortable doing so, again, please feel free to share that in the chat, or I invite you to message me privately about this. I can relate to this situation, and I'm always happy to be there to provide an ear for you. So this is really interesting. In my research, I did find that Dr. Valerie Young, who's a PhD in education, an international expert on imposter syndrome, and she's the co-founder of the Imposter Syndrome Institute in the US, conducted her doctoral research on understanding why so many bright, capable women, herself included, felt like frauds. Why do we feel like frauds? So she actually broke it down and she categorized this syndrome into 5 subgroups. The first one, the perfectionists. Those who are the people who are setting these excessive high goals for themselves. And some may even refer to these individuals as control freaks. We have the superwoman and the superman. These individuals might be your workaholics, right, in the field that need to constantly prove themselves and their worth to other people. The natural genius. These people set their internal bar impossibly high. But in addition to perfectionists, they also judge themselves based on whether or not they get something right the first time around. The soloist. People who fall into this category typically refuse assistance so that they can prove their worth on their own. And number 5 is the expert. They base their worth on what and how much they know, and they always fear that they're going to be viewed as inexperienced or unknowledgeable. So if you can relate, and if you've been brushed with any form of imposter syndrome at some point in time, you know too well how challenging this can be, right? It can stop you dead in your tracks. It can delay your progress completely. And personally, I can relate to this. I still grapple with this to this day with my tech startup, ProCabby, and it's been actually probably one of the most challenging aspects of the business, believe it or not. But like many things, with time, things do start to feel a little bit easier, right? And more so than that, I think you can start to identify when it's creeping in. So you may ask, how can a person cope when they're feeling really bogged down by imposter syndrome, but especially as a woman in tech and in a male-dominated industry? So here is what I've learned. Firstly, always remember what you bring to the table. You deserve to be there just as much as the next person at that table. So own your worth, know your worth, and be active in those conversations and those meetings. Women bring irreplaceable communication and organizational management to the business world, to the tech world, which is so refreshing. Keep that in mind. Care more about being respected than being liked. And don't forget the value of having those diverse minds at the table. Having a diverse group of individuals on your team allows you to be more well-rounded, but it also allows you to propel your business forward more quickly. Remember, you are not alone. There are so many women who've broken ground for us to get us to where we are today. And of course, we have a long ways to go to break these glass ceilings, but companies are now requiring, whether it be freelancers or employees, that they have a certain percentage of women at that table, right? When you're faced with any male-dominated environment, it's important to speak up and have your voice heard. Keep close sight of your worth and own your strengths. We're in this day and age where there are tons, a plethora of resources available out there if you want to improve your skill set. So if you feel you want to learn something more technical, that is out there for you for the taking, right? Whether that be through a technology accelerator, an incubator, books, courses. There's even, we can start with LinkedIn, Udemy, and Microsoft are some good places to start, right? But there's even some open source learning university courses. So never stop your learning. And this is really crucial. Find female mentors in tech that you respect, or join female entrepreneur programs that offer you mentorship. Reach out to these people that you admire. Maybe you're going to find someone through the freelance business community. There's a lot of amazing resources here, and don't be afraid to ask for support. Think so wisely about who you're surrounding yourself with, and join these tech groups on or offline, excuse me, and fill your network with like-minded individuals and other freelancers, excuse me. Also attend conferences in your space, right? These are all really going to help with your confidence. Excuse me. Schedule time each week to work on your mindset, whether that be through podcasts, professional development, mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or therapy. You got to find what works for you here, but figure out why you're feeling stuck, what is holding you back, and work on your mindset. This can strongly help you with your professional endeavors. Find a slice of joy in each day, which might sound a little woo-woo, right? But that is going to help you feel more balanced, and it can go a long way in your business. Consider participating in improv groups or theater groups recreationally, or perhaps be a speaker at an event like this. And this one came to me recently, but actually, if you create a box that you want to put all of your negative imposter syndrome thoughts into, put it in the box, close the lid, right? So you have it there, it's in the box, it's not yours for the taking, and then you can move on. And this last one is so important. Excuse me. Take pride in knowing that you are a unique person, a unique individual that brings special advantages to your work. Nobody has the same special skills that you do. Own those and let those shine. But all of this to say, right, you do not need to come from the tech world to be a woman in tech. You do not. Take it from me. But you need to own your position. You need to stand strong in what your position is. Keep close sight of why you're doing what you're doing. And you know, the majority of freelancers, the female entrepreneur story that I've met in the tech space, the high majority did not come from the tech world. They had an idea, they had a pain point, and they ran with it. Typically, that's what's happened. So we can't discount the fact that having technical partners, having colleagues that are technical, you need these people. It's necessary. That's going to carry you a long way. But like any relationship, I really urge you to vet these people very, very carefully. And I would say even go a one up. If they're willing to exchange skill sets, then you're laughing. Like if you have some skill sets they're interested in and they are willing to teach you some basics so that you can speak at a high level about your tech organization, this is really going to help you out long term. Also, so much of our workforce, we can't deny the fact, is moving into the tech space. All the ways we've integrated technology into our lives, we can't discount this. This is the reality. This is just going to keep moving in this direction. So there's going to continue to need to be strong women that are going to play different roles in the tech space, whether you come from them or not, in different capacities. So just remember that if you're feeling a little shy. And it's also very encouraging that there's now programming out there, even for young girls and young women, that are coding boot camps, different accelerators to get them introduced to tech at an earlier age. And we also see young women entering STEM programs at university more than ever before, which is amazing, which is so awesome. So if you're here, you are likely a freelancer, I would bet, and that is no easy feat. You know, give yourself a pat on the back today. No doubt you've experienced your hardships building your business, and the resiliency and the several skills you've gained through that process are similar to the skills that you need to be a woman in tech. Did you know how to do everything in the beginning of your freelance journey? I really don't think you did, but you figured it out, and you will do this too if you have the desire. As freelancers and entrepreneurs, we always hear this, we wear so many hats. We're being challenged on a constant basis. We have to keep up with our industry best practices, mandatory regulatory requirements, keep an open line of communication with our clients, market our company, produce high-level work, on and on and on, bookkeeping, all these things, right? All of these competencies are what you also need to be in the tech space as an entrepreneur. So I encourage you, welcome these opportunities with open arms. If you have an idea inside of you, I urge you to explore with it. I really do. Run with it. There's so much you can gain. It's exciting, actually. I try to put a positive spin on this because there is a lot of negative, but the positive side is we're alive during a very exciting time where we have these opportunities as careers, and that's incredible. So just to finish off today, I would urge you to make a list. If you've heard any of my other talks, you know I love my list, but I urge you seriously to make a list of your greatest attributes. Keep this as a living document. Add to it over time. This is going to amaze you how far you've actually come.